Hello, and welcome back to our little path. My name is Amanda if you are new here, and I just want to say thank you for joining. Today I am going to be talking about kind of how to plan your homeschool year. I am still, I'm only on year 3. We're starting year 3 of official homeschooling. So I'm still not the best at my planning, but I feel like over the past 2 years I've gotten a pretty good idea of how and what to plan for. And we do year-round homeschool, so that gives us a little bit more flexibility on when we can take days off and things like that. Today that's what I'm going to be talking about. If you are interested, stick around. All right, before we jump in today, I do want to ask that if you have not subscribed, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button below. Also, if you like this video, that would be awesome too. It helps reach more people when you do that. Okay, so planning. That was something that I was super intimidated with when we first started getting into homeschooling, was just kind of how am I going to plan our day? How am I going to figure these things out? So I don't have a magic recipe yet, but I can tell you what has kind of worked for us and some of the resources I have utilized to get us to this point. I'm really thirsty, so I'm gonna take a drink. So, our first year of homeschooling, I went with Catholic Heritage curricula, still really like, and they give you lesson plans for, what to do each day and everything like that. So I definitely bought the lesson plans the first year we did it, which was very helpful. It made our curriculum a lot more open and go, except for the fact that I didn't use everything from Catholic Heritage curricula. So that kind of made it difficult. Wherever it would say, science or something, I would just do our science that we did. But then as we went through the year, I realized I didn't like the schedule and how it was laid out, just personally for our family and for our kids and how it worked. We prefer to kind of do a block rotation for our extra, not extra, I don't know what you would call it. I guess our extra subjects. So extra subjects I consider to be history, science, geography, maps, things like that. Whereas our core subjects are our literature, our grammar, our handwriting, and our math. Those are the core subjects that regardless of the day, we're going to be doing that. And then everything else we kind of filter in through. If you already don't have a good plan for your day in general, I would recommend the Mother's Rule book. I can't remember who the author is right now, but she is a homeschooling mom, and she has a whole rule of how she lays out her day. For me, I'm a super type A person, so she has you go through and figure out what your top things are for each day and where you want to plan things. But she has it planned to the hour, and that really stresses me out as a type A person. And then when you have kids and you try to keep things on a schedule that strict, I can't do it as a mom, because it leads me to be really angry when it doesn't go right, because I'm type A and I want it done my way and I want it done now. So yeah, but overall I think her book generally gives you a great idea of kind of where to find your top priorities and things like that. So even though I don't necessarily agree with how she plans her day hour by hour and stuff like that, I think the overall concept of it is very helpful. So I actually read it a few years ago. I haven't read it again just because I haven't felt like I need to, but I know a couple friends who read it every year just to kind of reassess their rule and their priorities. So first and foremost, if you're looking for kind of a book, I would say go in that direction. There are also a lot of really good YouTubers like Pam Barnhill and Sarah McKenzie who have podcasts and things like that for planning your overall day. But I'm going to kind of focus on how to kind of lesson plan your year. And you'll notice as I go through, I'm pretty laid back, pretty relaxed. I like to give us a lot of buffer room, and yeah, I just would say I'm overall like a pretty relaxed planner, because I've found that if I have too much scheduled to a detail, it stresses me out. So I have my trusty old planner here. This is a plum paper planner, and you can customize it completely to what you want. So this is my third plum planner, and I love them. They're fabulous. So I'll kind of flip it around so you guys can see, because I'm going to talk about some of the stuff that I've written down in here. And then, okay, so here is my Plum Teacher Homeschooling Planner. Came with a bunch of stickers. I didn't really mean for this to be a planner preview, but in case anyone's interested, it has monthly goals, birthdays, events, things to remember. It gives you your full page calendar. Sorry, I'm not at my normal spot because I need to be able to write to show. And then this is all what I customized. So my days of the week go down here, and then across I can write in all of the things. So we have our morning time stuff that we will do, our religion, our electives, and then we have Bella's math and language arts, and Lewis's math and Lewis's language arts for all the days. So that's kind of how I set mine up. And this is the third year that I've kind of customized it. So I feel like I've got it at a pretty good point of all the things that I would actually use on the paper and things that I wouldn't. So elective for me is things where I would record history, things where I would record science, and things like that. So initially what I did when I was preparing for our curriculum is wrote down all the curriculum that we would be buying for the year, and then as I was planning for my day, all the things that Isabella can do by herself, all the things that Lewis could do by himself, and then what they need to do with mom, and then down here what they will do together. So that led me to how I plan my day. Again, I know I said this wasn't how I plan my day video, but this is kind of our general. We found that if we start by 8:30, our day goes really well. My kids get up at between 5:30 and 6. They are crazy, and it has never been anything different for 8 years. Although Isabella's finally starting to sleep in, or at least hang out in her room for a little while she's still grumpy. So that's been going good. And all of these are like roundabout times. I do not, besides starting at 8:30 and lunchtime and quiet time, everything else kind of goes as needed. So our read alouds in religion may take an hour, it may not. If it doesn't, then we just automatically move on to our shared studies. And then, so our shared studies, one day will be history, one day will be science, one day will be our geography continent study. And that still leaves me, we're going to try to do a 4-day a week with a 5th day bonus for extra stuff that doesn't quite get finished. And so that still leaves me 2 other days that maybe science we ran a little long on and didn't get to finish. History we can always finish in about probably 40 minutes at max. Usually it's closer to like 30. And then map skills is something that, like, if geography ran long, we could do on one of the extra days. So I have someone out here stealing chairs to take to her room for quiet time. I have found, last year I found starting to work with Lewis by himself first, to be a better flow in our day. If I work with Isabella first, and that gives him time to like kind of go play and goof off, he gets really grumpy when he has to come back, even if it's after lunch, to do his own stuff. So Lewis will work with me, and this year Isabella's going to start doing some of her self work that I had scheduled over here. So these things. So and then we'll do. So at lunch we typically watch a podcast video, listen to a podcast or watch an educational like documentary video. So that's what we would do for that. And if we got done with Lewis's stuff early, we would just have lunch a little bit early and maybe extend their kind of lunchtime. And then we'll move on to Isabella's stuff. And Isabella's prefers that if we don't get all of her stuff done, which we probably won't in 45 minutes, she prefers to finish stuff after quiet time. So that kind of gives her that hour break there. If you guys don't do quiet time, I will probably do a quiet time video because that is essential to our family time and getting along. And then so Bella can finish up any stuff in the half an hour during snack. And then we will do Spanish, art, or poetry in the afternoons. And that will be probably Spanish 2 or 3 days a week. And then art / poetry will be 1 day a week. And then we're aiming to be done by like 3:15 every day. And including breaks and things like that, that gives me a working time of about 5 hours and 15 minutes or so. And obviously, if it's less for that day, it's less. If it's longer, it's longer. But each kid's getting their time with mom to do their work, and we're getting all of our stuff done. So that's kind of how our daily run through goes. But like I said, we're going to jump in. So I just got a new microphone because I was told my videos were low by my husband and a few friends. So I'm working on it. Hopefully this helps. If not, I'm going to look into buying a different one. But if you can hear my cat purring, he is right there. And my microphone's on this side, but he's, if you have watched my videos before, he is always in my way. So, all right, let's flip through how I devise up my homeschooling stuff. So they have a homeschooling section here at the back. I don't utilize this like too much, but all right. So we have Isabella, all of her her curriculum is here, and Lewis's, all of his is here. So what I've done is gone through and how many pages are each thing, or how many lessons, or how many weeks. Everything's kind of like split up into different lessons, pages, chapters. And so my longest thing is going to be spelling, UC, and Spanish. So those are 36 weeks. Now I'm aiming for like a 34 week school. And then obviously, if we have like, just spelling to finish, we can either choose to be done with it, or we can spend, a few days and bust out past the 34 weeks. So 34 is what I'm aiming for. Everyone's state is different, so I recommend you looking up what your state requires. Ours has pretty much 0 requirements besides telling them that you homeschool. So what I will do is break up my 36 weeks. And then what I went ahead and did was kind of looked at the year overall. So let me find that. Okay, so then I went to my yearly calendar, and I looked at July 19th is when we're going to be starting. And then I went through and counted all the weeks, and then we have potential weeks where either we're going to be shortened around these ones. I know that in November, around Thanksgiving, here at the bottom, we are going to take probably a week off at Thanksgiving. And then in December, we will take probably at least 2 weeks off in December. And then as I went into 2022 here, counting all the weeks, we'll take probably a week off in March. And I like to work in like 10 to 12 week blocks and just kind of see how we are doing as a family. Are we burnt out? Things like that. And so, so if I went from July 19th to the end of May, that was 42 weeks. And that was not including, the 2 weeks at Christmas, the 1 week in Thanksgiving, and the 1 week in March. So That leaves me quite a bit of buffer room to take off. I don't plan in anything to take off beyond what I know are some certainties of places that, I will be out of town, or will be taking off for holidays. Other than that, what I'm going to go through is I'm going to go through and mark out every 10 weeks in my calendar to just kind of remind us to take a break, or at least kind of assess where we're at and how we're doing. And sometimes some of these will break up that 10 weeks, and so I may go a few weeks extra before I take probably anywhere from 3 days off or take a whole week off. So that's what I'm going to go through now and kind of look through my calendar and make those assessments. Okay, so I just finished and I marked off every 10 to 12 weeks, depending on what was going on in our calendar. And that leaves me ample room to take off a week here, a week there, or a couple days here, a couple days there. And just kind of putting it into that perspective of, okay, I had 42 weeks that I've planned of when we should actually be in school-ish time. If we continued on the track of not only taking the breaks I set aside, we would finish, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 42. So that was 42, 43, 33, 34. So we would finish by the end of March, if my counting's correct, which is totally fine because we're year-round homeschooling. Some of our stuff last year we finished early, so we're kind of in the middle of our year for history. So our history seems to kind of always start in January. Our science, we started kind of on the off season of when it said to start, things like that. So, and my daughter's already halfway through 3rd grade grammar. So that's kind of the beauty of year-round homeschooling, is you can kind of plan through this. If we wanted to be traditional, take a month or two off for the summer, then, even looking at it this way and just seeing your lessons and things like that, you can really make it work. It's not as hard as you think it is. I think if you find what works best for you, doing your core classes, for us, it's doing our core classes every single day, and then rotating in those family curriculums that we do, which is our science, our history, our art, that kind of stuff. So I promise you it's not as hard. If you have questions about kind of planning your schedule for the year, let me know. Like I said, we don't, besides just kind of a rough overview of how our day is going to flow, I don't sit here and I don't write in, a week in advance of all the stuff that we're going to get done. One, that gives me anxiety. So I know today is a new day. We're going to start with, we're on lesson 1. Tomorrow's going to be lesson 2. Tomorrow's going to be lesson 3. Or if it's pages, I know that we need to complete so many pages a week, those ones don't stress me out as much. If it's just like, you know, do a page or two a day, I don't stress too much, because some days the kids are like, I want to do more, and some days they're like, I don't want to do any. So just kind of play it by ear. But I know some people like to really plan out what they do in advance. I will with Isabella. We're going to be making a daily chart of what she's going to do each day for her self-study stuff, just to kind of help her keep track of what she's doing. So that I will be planning either the night before, or I will write it out like for the week in advance, and we'll kind of go from there. I'll see what works best for me and for her. So yeah, I hope this was helpful. I cannot recommend enough trying to block schedule your extracurricular stuff, like your history, your science, your geography. I know some people block their core classes, like they'll do math every Tuesday and Thursday, or language arts every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And they'll just do more than one lesson. They set a certain amount of time, and they, you know, go until that time is done. For my kids, they want to do like a lesson and be done and walk away. So that's kind of what fits best for their style. I'll give you guys updates on how our schedule is going. Are we staying on track? Are we not? I guess you could say I'm a little more laissez-faire when it comes to school, because I have to be. If not, my type A personality takes over, and then that just puts a lot of stress on mom. So as long as we're getting things done and we're moving through books, I know we're on track, and then I'm okay. And it leaves room for those days when your kids are like, I just don't want to do anything, or mom doesn't want to do anything. Yeah, because sometimes that happens, right? We're all human. So I will catch you guys on the next video. Have a great day. Bye.